Democrats hoping, praying for a major upset in Ohio's 12th congressional district. That's a special election tonight where Republicans have held that seat since the 1980s, despite big spending by the GOP and the support of President Trump and Vice President Pence. Polls show the Democrat, Danny O'Connor, is putting up a close fight against Republican Troy Balderson. It is neck and neck. Here to discuss all of this are Ned Ryan, American Majority CEO and a former George W. Bush presidential writer, and Beverly Hallberg, District Media Group president. Beverly, let me start with you. I mean, you've got a small percentage of the vote in Franklin County that will vote Democrat. Do the numbers add up, despite how tight this race is, that the Democrat can pull this off?
Well, I think the reason why this race is so tight to begin with, because let's not forget that this is a district that Republicans have held for 3 decades. The reason it's so close is because you look at the Republican candidate, he's not a conservative. He's an individual who even wanted to promote expanding and did promote expanding Obamacare in his state. So even the president coming in last minute is more about trying to rescue this. But regardless of what the result is, you are going to find Democrats that use this as a determination of what we can expect in midterms. If the Democrat wins, of course, they're going to say that Trump is no longer popular. And so, and the margin is something we're going to have to look at as well.
Ned, let me ask you this question, though. The Democrats have had lots of close calls, but yet to cross the finish line. Right. You got to win. You don't win, you don't win.
That's right.
And
that's right.
You know, the numbers are really, despite how tight this is, against the Democrats. So, you know, can they snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory, or do they snatch victory out of the jaws of defeat? Which will it be?
We'll find out. I mean, this is a must-win, though, for Troy Balderson and Trump. I mean, this is a district that Trump won by over 11 points in 2016, and so he's put his name on the line. He came in and did that rally. But more importantly, Adam, this is about setting the tone and perception for the next 90 days. And if Democrats win tonight, God forbid, it does set a narrative in motion that they can take the House back, and that's a damaging narrative to the Republicans, because this special election, the entire midterms, it's an up or down vote on Trump's agenda, but also on impeachment. And so Republicans need to be very careful about what happens tonight, because if, God forbid, Balderson loses, they need to hit the panic button, and they need to start organizing. I always say that organizing is the best antidote to apathy. They better be concerned about tonight, and even if it's a close race, they need to renew their efforts between now and November 6th, because you know, Republicans, I think the Democrats still have the enthusiasm gap advantage. Republicans have 90 days to react to this. So I'm going to be very curious to see what happens tonight. I do think the last thing I heard, Adam, was coming out of Ohio, an internal poll did show Balderson up by 3 to 5 points. But I also know that notoriously, last-minute internal polls can be all over the place. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but Beverly, I got to ask you, is this really a bellwether?
I think it could be, because it is going to be motivating for who comes out in the midterms. And that's why I think what Republicans can take from this is to point to their accomplishments. There haven't been as many legislative victories as they have wanted. But when it comes to tax reform, they have to come out strong on that aspect. What you saw with Democrats is trying to tie these tax cuts to the reasons why Social Security and Medicare are having issues. Republicans need to talk about that in the right way. And I think that that narrative that they need to put forward is going to be huge for them come midterms.
Well, let me ask you this, Ned. You keep talking about the fact that the polls show that Troy is a little bit ahead at this point. How much of that, if he does win, will be attributed to the president, and will other Republicans, as we head into the midterms, say that's the strategy I'm going with?
Oh, I think it'd be hugely show that Trump has huge impact with the Republican base. I mean, we see that he's one of the most popular Republican presidents of all time with Republican voters. So him coming in at the last minute, if it is that 3 to 5 point margin of victory, I think it's all Trump, because he has that clout right now with the Republican base. And let's not forget, midterms are all about a base vote, and guess who the base loves? They love President Trump, and I can see him being a very powerful asset with Republicans. But even this, Adam, I think a lot of people are pushing back on saying he can't be effective with independents. I think he can be on the economy and immigration. I think he could be a huge force with independents in the midterms.
Let me wrap with Beverly, because we're running out of time. But Beverly, at the end of the day, I heard one report that only 30% of the people in the district will actually vote. The only way Democrats win is if they show up, and they don't seem to show up.
Voter turnout is going to be huge, especially with special elections. Many times people don't even know there's an election to go vote for. So they are going to have massive turnout. I'm not convinced that the Democrat will win, but at the same time, the margin alone is going to show a huge difference from where the Republican win was just 2 years ago. So I think they can look at Trump coming in last minute as being helpful, but that this campaign needed to be run differently from the beginning, including potentially a more conservative candidate.
Ned and Beverly, got to let it go there, but thank you both for joining us.